I'm always going to be a fan of magazines and media. I think it's always such a creative outlet for other people, and um, always great to have people have their voices in interviews and stuff amplified. Um, it was amazing. I mean, it's not like I'm the biggest. I have a ton of books at home, mostly photo books, but I'm not like the most. I wasn't smart in school. I wasn't well educated. Um, but magazines were everything for a period of my life. It was what social media is today. And it was amazing to go to a newsstand and to go to a skate shop to get a magazine, or go to a record store to get a magazine and read all about that. So to be able to be working for this magazine that I looked up to, and it all happened pretty fast. Um, First photos were printed actually in Slap, and then I had there was an article about my hometown in Transworld, and then I was able to do one on Denver really quickly later. I mean, all of it happened within like a year and a half, to getting magazines in. I mean, to getting photos in Transworld, to being like, I want to visit there. It was my first flight, and I was like, I want to visit California, and then it was 6 months later, I was living there. So it was all really, really, it was a big leap of faith, because working at BC was a dream job. And it was literally what I thought I would do for the rest of my life. So,
I mean, you move there, and what is it like when you start meeting all these pros that you've been,
oh, it's crazy.
you know?
Because the thing is, I mean, we were able to, working at the shop, there was a couple demos. So I had met a couple, Shiloh Greathouse, Kareem, like two of my favorites. Um, but Josh Beagle was the one I met, him and Ronnie Krieger, and Josh was the one that I became friends with. Then I visited him, and then I met Heath, and it was crazy, because I was like, at that point, Josh and Heath were some of the biggest skaters of ever, and I was a shy person. I still am in a lot of ways, as social as I am. But I remember just kind of just, I don't think I said much, and I think that's why I was able to get the opportunities I was able to get with like filming and shooting with these skaters, because I just didn't say much.
Yeah.
I didn't talk too much. Because I was shy and like just freaking out inside. And it was crazy. It was like, I mean, it was straight up like a movie. We went to the DMV right when we moved, and we walked over to this guy who looked like Tony Hawk, and his application said Anthony. We're like, that's not him. We were dumb. It was fully Tony Hawk. It was crazy. Um, it was a scene in San Diego too. You could go to the YMCA and see like the best vert skaters, and I was lucky to meet like Ty Evans, and he really brought me under his wing, and he was working for Planet Earth, which was a big company then. And then, just being at the magazine, the thing a lot of people don't know, the magazine was also a hub where pros would come visit. I remember seeing Eric Costin come in, and, you just sit around and skaters would come in and visit, and they'd be like, oh, we're going to go skate. Do you want to come with? And then, that's how I met Jeremy Klein. No one was shooting photos. They were like, go skate with Jeremy. Jason Maxwell, Kane Gale, like random sessions would come up that way. So you would it was crazy. This is before DM or texting or anything.
Yeah, they're just feels like completely inaccessible.
Yeah, it was completely inaccessible, but because everything was so tight knit in San Diego, it became super accessible. Like, if you really wanted to, you could go to San Diego every Saturday and you would see pros. Guaranteed.
So you move there, are you thinking like, holy shit, like this is happening? Like I'm doing it.
Yeah, because I never put the pressure on myself to make it happen. I mean, in the back of my mind, I definitely wanted the success of having photos in magazine and cover. That's all I cared about. But it wasn't like, yo, I'm doing this. It was just like, let's just, like, I kind of had nothing else to do. It just was happening.
Yeah. So you like you do the skate thing, and you make. I'm gonna fast forward crazy here, and I'm
Yeah,
down to
because
go
I hate
backwards.
podcasts.
I'm down to go backwards, but like, um, you end up shooting commercial photography. You end up doing like celebrities. You end up doing a whole fucking slew of things that I feel like skateboard photographers, pure skateboard photographers, don't end up doing. This is not a common path.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say it was the basketball that led me into it. All my stuff I always say is because I just wanted to photograph things that I loved, whether it was basketball, skateboarding, or music. Those are my three things that I was really into. Spike Jones being a very big influence on me was the one skate photographer that was like, you can do everything. And that his photos and photography and his trajectory of his career really is something that I always like. That was my shining star to be like. So for me it was the basketball. Luckily that changed my life. That changed everything. It changed my photography. It changed all of it, because meeting Andy Bernstein, him teaching me Hasselblad in medium format, which I took into skating, which changed my look into skating. But what I did in skating, once I did for Slam Magazine, gave me a different look. So it was just perfect timing. And then, what basketball, it's in studio, it's commercial shooting, essentially. And you work with the art director, whereas skateboarding, no one tells you what angle to shoot. I have to pick the best angle. When I would shoot skating, it's like, okay, nollie back heel, where am I going to be? It's one of the hardest tricks to shoot. And when I shoot commercial, I get a deck that goes, how do I make someone else's vision come to life? So it's it's very yin and yang, and it keeps me very well balanced in my photography.
Do you feel comfortable in that environment, in the commercial environment, coming from skateboarding? How'd you learn to
Yeah,
navigate?
yeah, I say this all the time. I feel very comfortable because that's a controlled environment. Skateboarding is not. I have to, as a skate photographer, it's very high stress because we're going to get kicked out. The clouds changing changes everything. Nothing is controlled. If I'm in a studio, the light doesn't change. Craft service is there. I have assistants. Everything is so chill. No one's kicking me out of this studio. This, I have to have eyes in the back of my head, whether it's, someone who's going to attack us skating, whether it's, you know, someone who wants to rob us, or a cop. So when I shoot skating, it's a very high stress situation. And a lot of times it's like a bank robbery, a jewelry heist. Like we need to get in and out without anyone catching us. So when I shoot skating, it's not good for my high blood pressure. But it is what we do. It's the way it is. So for me, I love that balance because when I'm in the studio, I don't have the creative freedom that I have with skating, but I have the direction. And doing too much of one doesn't. I get out. I feel out of balance. Like I'm about to shoot commercially for the next, actually this whole week, but like the stress that I had yesterday at Hollywood High is a lot. So it's like I like to unplug from that stress. And skating is gnarly now, and I don't like seeing people get hurt, and that's really what adds to a lot of the stress for me.
Oh, really?
So, yeah, I hate it. I hate shooting gnarly skating. Like, it's fun and it's amazing, and what these skaters' bodies can do is so crazy. Like, to see people jump down Hollywood 16 or El Toro, it's crazy. It's literally crazy. And to land and be able to get up. So it's so amazing to shoot. But every try is it's like a football play, you're scared that someone could get hurt. So
Yeah. Was there any shock factor for you when you're shooting these basketball players or even some of the pro skaters, like a Reynolds type of person, like a
Oh
Costin?
yeah, there's the skaters that I will always be like a super fan of. Guy Mariano is one skater. I'm like, oh my god. Kareem Campbell. I'm like, oh my god. You know, Tony is a very good friend, but still, I'm always like, he's why I laugh. Like that's fucking Tony Hawk. And then basketball, yeah, you know, there's the players that are always gonna be to me the coolest, whether they're young or not. You know, like Ja Morant, I'm always like, that's fucking Ja. But Iverson, um, I was just with Vince Carter on a golf trip, and every second I would be like, that's Vince Carter. Like that's one of the greatest of all time. You know, I had a close relationship with Kobe. Luckily for me, it was a true friendship. But him, I was always like, he's just the coolest. You know, he's just the best. You know, same with like a Eric Costin. He's a very close friend, but you're still like that's Eric Costin, one of the greatest. Heath Kirchart, very close friend. But you're like, that's Heath Kirchart. And, you know, Reynolds is, our relationship is funny because we came up together. And I saw the progression of like straight up his frontside flip from being gnarly when he did it over an 8-stair rail to like doing it down 20. Reynolds is always just going to be my homie. But I love it because he was never I never had that star thing.
Wow.
But I see it around the other people and I love it because I'm like, oh, that's just the homie, you know. But other people are like, oh my god, that's Andrew Reynolds, you know. So
It's amazing the worlds that the camera and your art have taken you.
yeah, I mean, I always say it, camera will get you the best seats in the house for anything that you have a passion for, whether it's on the court for, you know, seeing Kobe win every championship, whether it's in the photo pit to turnstile show, or whether it's the bottom of Hollywood 16. It's, you got front row seats. You have the best access, you know.
Yeah, you're just getting exposed. You're like, you get to, it's amazing. I'm thinking
Even all the
about
way
that.
to working with Harrison Ford, you know, it's like, it is literally, my camera has brought me into the craziest situations ever. Even like Justin Bieber swag listening party. Like it was funny. I shot that and my brother was like, you had to be like, what am I doing here? I'm almost 50 and what am I doing here? And Justin was super nice and so gracious and fun. And to me, it was like, yeah, I'm just a kid from Colorado. What is this situations? And that's all my camera, and that's why I love cameras. You know, I always I always say it. The best photographer is one that has a camera. I like if I leave with my house, I'll turn around and go get it. Wow. Like I get anxiety without a camera.
That's something I wanted to ask you about, anxiety when you're going to these social situations where it's like a fucking Justin Bieber listening party or some shit like that. Like, do you get social anxiety, or is the camera the safety? Is the camera the shield?
I mean, the camera, it's so funny because a lot of my good friends are like, you're so good at getting the people together for the group photo and breaking that ice. And it's actually funny because that's the I have a Vans collection coming out, and it's all about how skateboarding unites everything for me, united by skateboarding. And because that's the thing, but it's really the camera, you know, that I think can break those social situations. But sometimes people don't want their picture taken, so it doesn't always work. I feel really lucky. I think we all suffer from social anxiety to some degree. Mental health is something that I feel like we don't talk enough about, even though it's amazing the amount that we talk about now compared to the 80s. I really believe in therapy. I really, have empathy for people that have severe social anxiety because I don't really. I went and saw Guar do an acoustic set by myself last night. I go to shows and events by myself all the time. But there are times where I'm just like, walking up, you have a little bit of that anxiety. The camera, I guess, breaks that, but it's 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 something that I guess I've never really thought about if that helps, because photos give people anxiety. So in some ways it doesn't help, but for me, I'm hyper social. I like to give people their flowers when I'm a fan of what they do, and I think genuinely people really appreciate that. Um, so for me, like, going to events is not that much heavy lifting, but I do. Last night I should have went to another art show, and I texted my homies and they didn't reply back, and I was like, okay, yeah, I'm not gonna go to that, because I was only going to see them.
Mm-hmm.
But that was my anxiety of going, like, I would be going into a situation where I don't know if I know people there, and I didn't want to put myself in that situation. So I understand that, but yeah, I think my social skills are also a reason why I'm like a single person at this age, because I'm constantly just so excited to see my friends, and I love flying to shows and flying to see where my friends are, and I don't know if that's something, but I also love being by myself, so it's a weird thing. Like, last night was a great night. I played piano, I played Call of Duty and EA Skate, I watched a documentary. Like, whereas the night before, I went to dinner with my friends, went to the bar at his house, cha-cha, back to his house. I was out until 3. So it's just,
you have great energy. How
I
old
think
are you?
that's, what's that?
How old are you?
49.
You look fucking.
You
know what
crazy.
I'm saying? Like, if someone was like, if you were like 30, I'd be like
vampire.
I'd be like, all right, yeah, he's 30.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? You look amazing, dude.
It's,
Congrats.
I think obviously black don't crack, but like, it's also I like being old. That's the funny thing, is a lot of people are like, quit saying you're old. I'm like, I'm old, and I'm very proud to be old. I think people who don't celebrate birthdays, it breaks my heart, because you should celebrate, like, we should celebrate every morning we wake up, let alone once a year when you're born, because life is so fragile, and I've lost so many friends in different ways, and you realize, like, tomorrow's not guaranteed. So take advantage of what you have, even if taking advantage is like, taking a walk. It doesn't have to be being at a Justin Bieber listening party. To me, it's like, just making yourself happy is the key to to life. It's the simple things. It's not always the Hollywood bullshit. It's really like, I rode my bike up to the sign yesterday. That makes me so happy. Skating makes me so happy still. So it's like, finding time to do the things that make you happy is gonna keep you healthy. It's not about looking young or that. It's like trying to be healthy.
When you look back at your life and everything that you've done, where you come from, and everything that you're gonna do, what do you think about, like, you for example, you probably have a deep photo archive, and
pretty deep.
You have like, you've just recorded moments in the passing of time, and all of your friends. When you look back at all this shit, what do you think?
It's crazy. It's really, it's overwhelming in a sense, because I'm lucky to be still, I always say, busy, not killing it, but busy. So I don't get the time a lot of times to sit there and relive these moments that I documented as well as I want to. Trying to work on books and stuff. But yeah, I mean, that's also that heavy thing about being a photographer. I never realized until people started passing away that I control the narrative to their remembrance. I control the narrative to how the world will remember these people, and I have a duty to keep that light shining and show those people. So that's something that you're never prepared for as a photographer. It's really heartbreaking, but it's also a gift that I have, to have these moments and intimate moments, and capture that stuff of some of the best, you know? So yeah, that's that's a crazy thing when I look back to my body of work, you know. And skateboarding, it's also crazy because skateboarding is about progression. And I look back at something I shot 20 years ago. Now skaters do switch as a warm up. And that's a weird thing, you know. It's a crazy thing to look back at, you know, to see when a kickflip down 10 stairs was groundbreaking and now it's switch flip down 20, you know, even though no one's done that yet, not that I know.
I mean, it's just also crazy because photos kind of, some photos can gain more and more and more and more value as time passes.
Yeah, well, it's sad to say, like, I've shot millions of photos, but there is only a handful people will remember you for, and that's why I laugh about photographers with egos and everybody with an ego. It's really hard to create a photo that will resonate with people over time. And I know this with doing photo shows and photo shirts and stuff. Like, what do people really want? Like, a lot of times it's really just a Reynolds frontside flip with a bunch of kids and Tyshawn kickflip the train track. You know, those are, you know, there's a million other photos that I have shot, but when you really think about it, those are probably the two.
Yeah, well, that's another question: is which ones are the ones you're the most proud of? Which ones do you love the most?
I'm proud of them all, but I guess I'm really proud of moments that people will ask me about over and over. You know, Fran's backflip is a huge one for me. That's a really special photo. The Clippers cover for Slam, well, all three of them with their jerseys. Like, now that I look back at that moment, just the way basketball was with the style, but it's also really special to me because it's a LA team. I have a lot of love for all my LA teams. It's a hot topic. Kobe, there's a lot of photos of Kobe. There's a shoot that really hasn't seen the light of day. That's my favorite shoot with him ever. This stuff with him with Gigi is always amazing. I see that in murals all over the world. Iverson kissing the basketball is such a special photo. Yeah, there's a lot, but there's ones that people have probably only glanced at in something and have no idea that, like, this kickflip of Heath at a hookups demo is one of my favorite photos. You know, yeah. It's really funny to see what I like compared to what the rest of the world likes.
So there's destiny, there's karma, there's hard work, there's all these things that could attribute to somebody's success. With your path being so rare, what do you attribute yours to?
Being positive. Being positive. All my success is being positive and being nice and not being an asshole and not having an ego. Like, that is, you know, I even find myself having a little bit of an ego. Like, no one sees it, and I check myself. Don't be an asshole. Because I think when you have success, your head gets blown up, and we're all control freaks. Once you find success, so many people go, I have this success, so I'm right, so I know what the fuck I'm talking about. And I pull myself back when I feel myself going in that direction, going, there's other perspectives to things. My perspective has worked, but don't just go my way or the highway, you know, which is really hard to do. You know, I think skaters were just ingrained to be control freaks because we had to figure out how to make the skateboard do this trick. I know what I'm doing. I know if I treat the world like a kickflip, I'll be able to figure it out, which is, you know, very true. But I think just having no ego and staying positive is all my success. Hard work too, you know, like taking advantage of situations and going, hey, I could be like, oh, I don't feel like shooting today. No, if someone calls you, go shoot. You know, don't shoot it because of who they are. Shoot it because you want to go shoot.
So your personal ego and also your self image, they haven't changed too much even from your days in Colorado to today.
I try not to. You
Yeah.
know, I never wanted to be the person that they're like he changed to. I look at people I know that have done that, and I'm like, that's so whack to me.
It could be sad.
Like it's like people who don't have pride from where they're from. I mean, that's the sports thing that a lot of people, you know, I've lived out here since 95. Um and but I'll never forget my Colorado roots. Like I'll never, like when people are like, where are you from? I'm like, Colorado, you know. Sometimes I'll say LA if I don't want to have a long conversation with someone and go, well, I've been out here since 95. But it's always like, if we want to dig in, I'm like, yeah, I'm from Manitou Springs, a small town outside of Colorado Springs. I'll always be that dude wearing a Dodger hat, you know.
But which one do you think shaped you more?
I would say Colorado still always shaped me more. There's no way I would be who I was without embracing those crucial years in my life. It's 100% Colorado. Like, I'm the most LA Colorado person you'll meet, but you know, it's the Colorado in me for sure. The way I dress, the way I act, it's all from being that skater in Colorado. That's the person I still am.
Yeah. What is I don't know if you can talk about it, but what's the thing you're doing with Vans? What's up with that?
Yeah, I'm so honored to have a collection coming out with Vans in 2 weeks. I have some pants that I designed, some hoodies, hat, socks, some photo tees, some blank tees, and it's 5 colorways of different shoes. And this isn't my first collaboration with Vans. Me and my brother had a collaboration with OTW in 2010. I've done a handful of colorways for other companies too, and it's just full circle. Vans approached me. It's been about a year and a half now, and in the making. And this was a huge opportunity to have a collection, and I'm so honored, you know, because I am just a photographer. So to have this opportunity, it's been great. Yeah, it's been super fun. You know, you can see a lot of my stuff. It's heavily influenced by Virgil Abloh, who is a friend and one of my favorite designers. But yeah, it's all coming out. So I'm super excited to. I'm super excited to share stuff we've been working on for a long time. The process of making more than just one colorway does take a lot of work. Yeah. Everybody down at Vans has been amazing to work with. It's also, I have, you know, the campaign part too. So working on the photography, the commercial, you'll see there's a lot of cameos with my friends in it. So it's a star-studded commercial. So yeah, it's great. I worked on it, co-directed with Ty Evans. So yeah, the whole thing is it's been an amazing opportunity. Vans has been something I've been designing since I was, you know, 14, going to the skate shop, putting my $5 deposit to custom make chukka boots. So this is just that same thing. So yeah, very, very excited. And there's other projects coming out with Vans that we have rolling out too, that I'm just excited to connect Vans with other people and other things in my world.
I'm excited to see it. And I want to thank you for doing this. I've you know, you inspire me and a lot of other people to just, I'm not a photographer, but just your life philosophy and what you attribute your success to, keeping your ego in check, trying to always be grateful for every day that you have, and still being hyped that like, oh yeah, like I'm doing this and I have been doing it for a while, but I'm still pumped that I'm doing this. You know, it's easy to get used to it.
Yeah, I think you know, there's a responsibility with success too, to use your voice to better the world as well. You know, whether it's social media or whatever. It's like, you know, I also grew up very political, and to do the right thing and to use my voice, you know, I think that's like all the Inside Out and Rage Against the Machine, you know, Zach, like you know, there's something with success that you got to realize to make the world a better place. I really, in the pandemic was able to have the time to volunteer at a community center in Watts, and that changed my life because there are people in need and people who need help. And once you reach a level of success, you realize that you can help other people. I'm lucky to, with the guys at CSEF, to have the scholarship that I have for skateboarders. I have a scholarship fund that I never thought that would happen. So I think there is a responsibility with success. If you really ask me, I don't want to put pressure on other people, but I think if you're not using your success to make the world a better place, what are you doing?
Because then it's all just for you.
It's selfish living.
Yeah.
I'm so honored to still to work for Thrasher and still be in skateboarding magazine world. Thrasher was my biggest competitor for many years.
Because you were at Transworld and you were Skateboarder Magazine.
Skateboard Mag. And to go to them, it's just been so cool. I mean, they're the best people I've ever worked for.
Yeah, really.
Tony, Mike are just great. The whole staff over there is great. And I just love it.
I was listening to your Epically Later, or it might have, I think it was that one. And yeah, it was that one. And like, you told me you walked into Thrasher and Phelps you were like, at any moment he's going to be around the corner. And he was like, do you know who the fuck that is? It's Atiba fucking Transworld.
I was with Fausto, the owner, rest in peace. What a sweet dude. That was the only time I hung with him, and he was giving me the tour. And it was just super funny because there was already there was a big NorCal, SoCal, Transworld Tracker indie beef. That now I look back at, I was like, that was pretty cool. That shit was funny as fuck. Like, and I knew it. I knew I'd had my run-ins with Phelps before, but it was something that me and Phelps, we would talk about old Boston hardcore. And I really love this Boston band, Jerry's Kids. And, SSD, like there's just like cool shit out of Boston. That's where he's from. And I think that really always broke the ice. I mean, I think if you're a skater, I love skating, and he loves skating more than anything. And that was always our thing. And I think us playing shows together in our bands and stuff like that, there was always a vibe. And, you never knew what Jake you were going to get. That's what made Jake Jake. But, that moment I look back at, and just the full circle of working for Thrasher for the last, I think it's been 8 years now, it's been great. And every time I get an issue, and I'm lucky to have a photo in it, I'm just blown away as a kid, because I think going from working from Transworld to doing the Skateboard Mag, there was a little bit of that little kid lost once you're doing your own thing. And there's always a nostalgia for me to see my photos printed in a magazine that I looked at as a kid. And you're in magazine making. It is the hardest job in the world. And that really shows how great Thrasher is to be doing it for this long.
Still.
Because there's a lot of great magazines that have come in that time. But to keep that legacy going, it's mind-blowing to me. It's really, 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 really crazy. But they've always stuck to exactly who they are, and that's what's made them great. Heritage you can't buy.
Yeah. And
they have heritage. I always say that with these certain brands in skateboarding. Vans has an amazing heritage. Like, it is unbelievable, and Thrasher has that too. So it's great to be with both of them.
Coming from Transworld, and the magazine world and the magazine era, what was it like as someone who's creating the images, actually photographing people, making these skate photos when the guard changes and now it's digital, and now it's like, of course, Thrasher Magazine still makes print, but so much of it has to be digital because of the way the world is.
Well, I think lucky for us, like I say us because my brother and we worked together a lot. He did the Skateboard Mag, but it's really, when you look at it, it was, we grew up with Atari, Nintendo. I'm a very big gamer, but I'm also, when you look back at it, I'm a 50-year-old gamer. Like, I'm an old gamer when you really think about it. But that's because I was so lucky to grow up in the 80s when we were able to see the first computers, and that stuff was just something we loved, whereas some people are like not tech savvy. I've always been a super tech savvy dude. I love sci-fi movies. Like, I love that world. So to me, even when we were doing the Skateboard Mag, me and Aqua were like, they gotta get on the website, gotta get on YouTube, like, because we saw it, because we were, we were victims of like tech boom stuff. We loved it. So whether it was Napster or that type of stuff, we were always kind of like, okay, like for smartphones and stuff like that. So for us, it's crazy because it happened, like when you really think about it, it happened really fast. And the internet took over and print fell off a cliff pretty harshly. But yeah, I think in anything in life, now that I'm older, my advice to anyone younger is things aren't going to stay the same. And you have to enjoy them in the moment. In some ways, I think we all took print for granted and thought it was going to be there forever. And you're still seeing newsstands close and bookstores close. And it's really, really, really sad. But it's up to people like yourself to, keep that going. And I think there is something there. I think that's why we're seeing a resurgence of records, vinyl. You're seeing a resurgence of cassette tapes. You're going to see a resurgence of CDs. You're going to see a resurgence of DVDs and VHS. It's going to happen. Now, will it sell as much as streaming? No. But it's going to be there.
Yeah. Yeah. What magazine were you at when the shift started happening hardcore?
The Skateboard Mag.
Okay.
The Skateboard Mag is when I saw that shift, and it had sold, and it wasn't the same for me. So I left the Skateboard Mag, and then I had just had a conversation with Tony and them at Thrasher, just like, hey, I'll just contribute photos, For me, I'm lucky to have a commercial side to really help me make money. Skateboarding doesn't pay a ton. And so I've always been lucky to be a commercial photographer. So for me, I just shoot the skateboarding for the love. I'm lucky to be a staff photographer for Thrasher, don't get me wrong. But it was 2017 is when I started working at Thrasher. So I think it's like 2015, because you really saw Thrasher be smart about their website, and that's the snowball happened.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, they're becoming huge.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing that they're still around and that they're still doing print.
Yeah.
too.
And I mean,
it'd be sad the day that they can't. That'd be like, what the fuck is going on with this world?
Yeah. But you know how it is. A lot of that goes to the companies to support the magazine.
Yeah.
Advertising is what keeps the lights on.
Yeah.
So it's really up to the companies to see a value in doing that stuff. And I hope we do, because, the cover is the most coveted accomplishment in skateboarding. Like, to have a cover of Thrasher is huge. I mean, that's, even for me to photograph the cover of Thrasher is huge. So it's like, to actually be on the cover, that's crazy. So I think hopefully everybody understands the value of that. Same with like Slam Magazine. Like, a cover of Slam is a cover of Slam. You can do the digital one, but to like,
it's not the same.
Pick this up is crazy.
Yeah.